الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه وعليه نتوكل ونتوب إليه ونعوذ به تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله هو حبيبه وخليله وخطر الأنبياء وأشرف المرسلين وصلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وسلموا عليهم بتحية الجنة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Today I want to talk about just the opening passage of Surah Maryam. And I want to talk about this passage for a couple of reasons. One, because now it's after the month of Ramadan, and sometimes after the month of Ramadan we have the feeling like, well, I can put the book down again for another year. But for me, the classes that I teach and whatnot, my approach is that it's better to read the Quran slowly and just even a few ayat at a time throughout the year versus being caught up, well, since I don't read it just every day, then I shouldn't read it at all. No, read this book because the benefit is in there for you, the message is in there for you. And as you will see, it doesn't always take a lot of ayat. It doesn't take a lot of suhaf from the mushaf. It doesn't take a lot of pages necessarily to derive benefit and also to provide some relaxation for your soul. That you can have, again, some of that feeling of Ramadan, ba'da Ramadan, after Ramadan, inshallah. And this, one of the reasons sometimes we read this, and obviously it's called Surah Maryam because one of the stories in this chapter is about Maryam. May Allah be pleased with her, the mother, obviously, of Jesus, of Isa, alayhi salam. And for us, many times this surah simply becomes talking points for us to show non-Muslims or to show the Christians, hey, we love Jesus too. Which is true. But there are other smaller messages in this chapter, in every chapter, that are worthy of our attention, but if we approach it from a particular point of view, which is smaller in content, slower in pace, and with tadabbur and tafakkur, right? If you read it with contemplation and reflection. So Allah Ta'ala opens this up like some of the surah in the Quran where it says, Kaf ha ya ayn sad, right? Opens up with this, and he says, Dhikru rahmati rabbika abdahu Zakariya. This is a reminder about the mercy of your Lord to his slave Zakaria. This is a reminder, Dhikru rahmati rabbika. This is a reminder, one, about what? mercy. One of the overall messages that this book tries to convey to the human being is that Allah is what? Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, At-Tawwab, wa Ghafur. Allah is merciful, compassionate, accepting of repentance, and forgiving. So first Allah says, what dhikra rahmi rabbik. This is a reminder about the mercy of your Lord. Which even before we get to Abdahu Zakaria, even before, because it relates to something that he did with Zakaria alayhi salam, before it even gets to Zachary, it's important for us to be reminded about Allah's mercy. So much of what ails us as a community is that we have forgot about dhikru rahmati rabbika abadahu Zakaria, about the reminder of mercy. It is the one quality. If I had to be asked, what do you think, what could we do in the Muslim community to make things better with the Muslims? And all the time we think about, there's the situation with the Rohingya. There's Assad over in Syria. There's what the Malik, the king, is doing in Saudi Arabia with the people of Yemen and such. And we tend to approach these questions and problems always from a political standpoint. What is the problem in Syria? There is no dhikr rahmati rabbik. There is no account. There is no remembrance that Allah is merciful. Why are we doing this to each other? It's not necessary. Why is the king of Saudi Arabia, waging a war on people who are some of the poorest in the world? Perhaps he should open up Surah Maryam and read dhikru rahmati rabbika abadahu Zakaria. And then of course for us, how do we treat one another? Because we love to talk about the kings and the rulers of the Muslim world, but what about the people, right? When you go to Egypt and the guy that's your cab driver that wants to charge you 500% over what's due, or you go to Morocco and somebody wants to steal your luggage, or you go to Pakistan and something happens, right? You can't blame everything on the king. We also have to look at ourselves. And one of those things we have forgotten is what? Dhikru, right? Rahmah. Dhikru Rahmah. We have forgotten about the mercy that exists, that is coming from our Lord. And then what? إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. In this Zakaria, he is made mention of by Allah. His mercy was given to him by Allah. إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. Because he did what? He called out to Allah. When he called out to Allah, but in what way did he call to him? He didn't call to him on social media. Now I understand Zakaria alayhi salam did not have social media back in his time. But we also have to read this book for our time. And we see he what? Nida'an khafiyan. He called to him when basically in private. He had an issue. And he called upon Allah in private. He didn't air his dirty laundry. He didn't go out and drag his private affairs into the street. But he called upon Allah in private. And he said, قَالَ رَبِّي إِنِّي وَهْنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي. Oh Allah, I'm going to bring my concerns to you. And what were some of them? Well, I'm getting old. Literally my bones are getting weak. وَاشْتَأَ رَأْسُ شَيْبًا. Right? Well, in my case, اللحية شَيْبًا. Right? His hair had turned gray and his bones had become weak. So he's calling to Allah, asking Allah for his assistance, in reality over what? Things that he doesn't have any control over. And matter of fact, things are an inevitability. I don't care how many push-ups you do. I don't care what supplement you take. I don't care what diet you're on. Eventually, if you live long enough, you will have this problem of what? وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي وَاشْتَأَ الرَّأْسُ شَيْبًا. Eventually, you will have the problem of your bones getting weak if you live long enough, and your hair is going to get gray and maybe fall out. So he's asking Allah, he's like, I'm concerned because I'm getting towards the end of my life, which is another importance about the dhikr, right? Dhikru rahmati rabbik. This reminder of the mercy of our Lord. Part of this mercy from Allah is that we get towards the end of our life and we realize, I'm not going to be here forever. That's a mercy. That reminds us about where we're really going to so that we actually don't mess that up. So Zakaria, alayhi salam, he's very concerned about, his family, essentially. He's a real man. For me, this is like a real man. He's lived well. He comes from a good family. Obviously, he comes from what Al Ya'qub. He comes from the family of Jacob, from the Al of Ya'qub alayhi salam. He comes from a good family, and he's trying to do his best, but now he's old, and he's worried about what's going to happen to his family. And I can relate to this as a family man myself. I worry about what might happen to my family. And he calls out and he says, what? وَلَمْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا. But here's the thing. Despite the fact that I'm getting old and weak, and I'm going to leave this life very soon, I'm not upset at you, about getting old and being weak. And part of my overall disposition is that I have never been shaqiyan. I have never been, upset, unhappy, dissatisfied, miserable of calling upon you. He didn't say what you gave me. Zakaria alayhi salam says, oh Allah, I've never been displeased with what you've given me. No. I have never been displeased with calling upon you. This is why many scholars like Ibn Juzay and others said, it's the dua. The dua, the calling upon Allah is greater than anything that He will give you in return, because in calling upon Him, you confirm Allah in fi dhatihi, in what He really is, which is wahdahu la sharika lah. He is alone without any parable. Laysa kamithlihi shay. So Zakaria, again, reading slowly, word by word, paying attention to this message that's sent to us. Ya Rabbi, لم أكن بدعائك ربي شقيا. Oh, my Lord, I have never been dissatisfied with calling upon you. And then he becomes honest, right? In some ways, he's kind of buttering up Allah. He's sweetening him up, as we say, right? Oh Allah, I've never been displeased and da-da-da. But then he gets to what? إِنِّي خَفْتُ الْمَوَايَ مِنْ وَرَائِيَ. Here's the real problem. I'm really concerned about what's going to happen to my family after I get out of here, right? وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. And my wife is also old and barren, and we haven't been able to produce an heir to all, carry on our family legacy, and also, look after what is being left behind. And in this, the beautiful part, and this is another important lesson for us today, is that Zakaria alayhi salam recognizes and accepts that he is what? خُلِقَ ضَعِيفًا. He's created weak. Here's the big illusion for us as human beings. We crave and we seek power all the time. وَلِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ الْعِزَّةِ. Right? This is actually one of the things that Allah Ta'ala talks about in Surah Al-Munafiqun. When the Munafiqun, Allah answers them by saying, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةِ. Right? All of the might and all of the power, it belongs to Allah alone. So we're seeking power, but it will fall through our hands. We don't really have it. We can seek the one who is Al-Aziz. We can seek the possessor of power. But we cannot actually really have power ourselves. This is an illusion in this life that makes some human beings, rob, steal, cheat, kill, murder, maim, and do horrible things, all in the pursuit of power, which eventually what? So Shayban, right? Your bone. Everybody that pursues power in this life eventually will become feeble and lose it. Even a family, maybe a powerful political family, dynastic family, even those we have seen all fall by the wayside. This is actually part of his dua. What? يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. But then he asks him in a special way. He doesn't ask him for something. Zakaria does not ask Allah for something that will make him happy, meaning Zakaria. He asks Allah for a thing that will make Allah happy. وَجَعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. Oh Allah, make this child, this inheritor, make this answer to our dua, make it pleasing to you. So for us, we have to ask ourselves, when we're asking Allah for things in our life, are we asking for things? Is it just objects? Is it just wealth? What is it for? And in the very end, even if it is some of those things, because sometimes wealth is needed. It can be a good thing. It gets things done. It can feed people, right? Whatever it is, are we approaching it from the standpoint that, Ya Allah, whatever I'm asking it for, yeah, I want it for me, but I want it to be pleasing to you. That is my niyyah. That is my intention. And that's why he says what? Nada'an khafiyan. He asked this secretly, privately. He was mukhlas. He was very sincere. So to end the first khutbah, think about how to read this book. Because this just comes from 20 minutes of sitting and reading and contemplating. Right? We've barely gotten past 3 or 4 ayat. Read this book. You don't have to read a lot of it. You can read 4 or 5 ayat. I mean, this is not even halfway down the page yet. Read it slowly, think about it, contemplate it, and no, you don't have to be, nothing that I said had anything to do about mastery of Arabic language, right? If the translation will be good enough for you for now, read this book so you gain the benefit from it. And then take these examples. This is why it says what? ذِكْرُ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّكَ عَبْدَهُ زَكَرِيَّا. This is a reminder of the mercy that your Lord had to his slave Zakaria. Why would Allah put this in the book that he sent to what? Al-Alameen, to all of the worlds? Was it put in there just to show the Christians we love Jesus too? No. It is to deliver a much more profound and transformative message for us so that we can transform our relationship with Allah into what? Ridwan, right? Ij'alhu Rabbi Radiyan. Oh Allah, make this child that we're asking for, whose name was of course what? John the Baptist, Yahya alayhi salam. Asking for him to what? Don't just give me a kid because I want a kid or I'm lonely or whatnot. What? Oh Allah, give me that, but make him pleasing to you. So let us take this and put it in our minds and our hearts, inshallah, that when we ask dua for Allah, we do it, inshallah, with the niyyah, with the intention that whatever we get, that it will be pleasing to him. First we ask Allah for well-being. رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا ذُنُوبَنَا وَكَفِّرْ عَنَّا سَيِّئَاتِنَا astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Oh Allah, forgive us for our sins and overlook for us our bad deeds. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. You are merciful and forgiving. الحمد لله وكفاه والصلوات والسلام على رسوله المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. So, as I said, part of this beautiful passage is that this is a man who also, despite being what you could say towards the end of his life, he says what? Right? My bones are weak, my hair is turning gray, my wife is barren, right? So he's an old man at the end of his life. But he never gave up hope. Hope is a fundamental ingredient to Islam working. When I say Islam working, I mean working for us. We have to have hope. Without hope, Islam doesn't work very well. We can make Islam do some really ugly, nasty things when you don't have hope. Because it also means you understand, I might not get everything in this life, or maybe I asked for something, but maybe it wouldn't be pleasing to Allah. This is why the special, you could say, addendum that Zakaria makes is, Rabbi ij'alhu radiya. Oh Allah, make him pleasing to you. And if he's pleasing to you, how can it not be pleasing to me? How can I not be, if you make this child, this gift, this answer to my dua, if you make it pleasing to you, then how can it be possibly unpleasing to me? This gives us some insights of the deep spiritual profound nature and character of these people that Allah wants us to know. ذِكْرُ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّكَ عَبَدَهُ زَكَرِيَّا. Right? Allah wants us to be reminded of the mercy that He had towards this particular Nabi called Zakaria. Why? Because there's some profound qualities, profound characteristics, profound resolve, profound integrity that Zakaria alayhi salam has. And even though Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the final message, clearly he wants us to know that it can be articulated in other ways. It's all for our benefit. Even though he is Khatam al-Anbiya'i wa Ashraf al-Mursaleen, he is the seal of prophets and the most noble of them. But there are great qualities that the others have. And in this story, we hear about Zakaria, we hear about Maryam, we hear about Ibrahim, we hear about Yahya, we hear about Idris, we hear about Ya'qub. What are these names mentioned for? These very names themselves should evoke from us honor, respect, inspiration, and above all to give us hope, because all of these people that have been mentioned went through tremendous hardships and maintained hope and integrity in their relationship with Allah. Consider this last piece as we end the khutbah. We love to talk about Maryam. May Allah be pleased with her, alayhi salam. But we love to talk about Maryam. And we love, again, to talk about it almost only in the context of showing Christians that we love Jesus too. But there's some really interesting and amazing qualities that Maryam possesses. And it's not all, it's not all, as we say, milk and honey. Look at the story that she goes through. What? وَأَرْسَلْنَا رُوحَنَا إِلَيْهَا, right? We sent our messenger, Jibreel alayhi salam, right? We sent Gabriel to Mary, right, in the form of a man. Now we love to talk about, we believe in the virgin birth, the miraculous birth of Jesus too, which we do. But sometimes in saying the miraculous virgin birth, right, it kind of takes away the human experience of this. What was Maryam's response to this miraculous virgin birth? قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. Her response to the miraculous virgin birth was, oh my God, I wish I was dead before this. وَنِسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. And I was a thing that was totally forgotten. Because especially as men, we cannot really appreciate the physical hardship of childbirth. Right? This is extremely difficult. But then not only does she have to deal with the physical hardship of having to deliver this baby by herself, essentially, but then she has to deal with the ridicule of her family. Ya Harun, ya sister of Aaron, right? Why, how did you come about with this kid and so on, right? These are people of integrity. And this is why these stories are there, because again, what if the one quality we mentioned in the first part was rahmah, mercy, the other, we need to be a community of integrity. That we do not easily compromise our principles. We can compromise many different things. Right? We can bend on many different things. Now Allah has made this religion very flexible. If you're traveling, you can combine prayers, shorten them, all kinds of different things you can do. But principles, right? Principles, right? Allah Rabbi, give me a sign. Allah, Zakaria says to Allah, give me a sign. قَالَ آيَاتُكَ أَلَّا تُكَلِّمَ النَّاسَ ثَلَاثَ أَيَّامٍ سَوِيًّا. Don't talk to people for 3 days. Okay. Right? Integrity. Meaning that he was able to follow the commandments of Allah with integrity and obedience. It isn't always easy. Because, especially imagine you're some old man that can barely walk and all of a sudden you've got a new baby boy, people are going to have questions. Right? And therefore, the story about this isn't only the miraculous nature of how this child came into the world. Allah says, what? If I want to say a thing, kun fayakun. This is nothing amazing. What's amazing is flawed human beings. A weak old man who's able to follow the commandments of his Lord and be happy with calling upon him. I'll end with that. Be happy. And I will struggle with this myself. but to be happy with calling upon Allah, not with what He chooses to give me. What He said, لَمْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. Oh Allah, I've never been discontent with calling upon you. Forget about what I got. So if we read the book in this careful, slow, methodological manner, contemplating word by word, verse by verse, thinking about it, this isn't some magical, special methodology of tafsir. It's just quality time spent reflecting on the book of Allah. And we ask Allah, inshallah, nasallahu bil-afiyah, wa ij'alna min al-muwaffiqin, inshallah, fi hadha al-amr. We ask Allah to make us successful in this endeavor, to make us the people, ij'alna min ahl al-Qur'an, make us from the people of the Qur'an, that read it and they contemplate over it and they love its message, and in the end we are happy. We were never ولم نقول بدعائنا ربنا شقيا. That, oh Allah, we will never be displeased with calling upon you. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله